record this. All right, we are live on Facebook. It says we're live right now, and I'm just waiting for a panelist to arrive. I guess I'm a little bit early today. And there is Jeff Kiefer. I'm admitting him. Yeah, there we are. Hey, Jeff. Ask to unmute. You're muted. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Good. Hello. It worked better this time, huh?
We're good this time.
Wonderful. So we had some questions on Facebook. I think I'm going to close this one though. And use the phone.
From what I saw, we had two questions that you sent. I hope there's more. One was on sleep, and the others was where do dimensional realities intersect? I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm going to try to find them. And I know that people have been answering those questions on Facebook all week, which is kind of awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
You know, the sleep question in the Seth community, the subject of sleep, dreams, and lucid dreamings is very popular. A lot of people do deep dives on that. I'm not one of them. I mean, I know the overview. However, on the subject of parallel reality, and that is one of my things that I've been studying for years and years and years, and it fascinates me. So the first one, I'll give you an overview. The second one we can go into if you want to. But I'm sure as more people join our panel discussion, I'm sure a lot of them are into the sleep thing.
Yes. So I'm going to read what her question was. So it was Judy Seal Snyder. She asked, there's a couple of things I would like to enjoy hearing about. One is Seth says we need less sleep, true or not, and how? The second question is living in multiple dimensions where they all connect in the present moment. How to become cognizant of those alternate realities? Is it possible? So those are the two questions, and I will, let me find.
I love questions from our Seth book,
chat.
Our Facebook Sethians. I love questions from Facebook Sethians.
Absolutely. And, you know, I know Ron Card has been answering some questions as they've been coming up. And yeah, hopefully we get a couple more people. It's early on yet. Now,
very early.
It is. And as I was looking at this, especially the sleep question, we kind of practice this. So, and it's to the point now where I get awakened about every 3 hours. So I do have this interrupted sleep. And, you know, sometimes I get up, but most not. I just fall back to sleep. But I am aware that, oh gosh, I'm awake again. It's still dark outside. What time is it? I might check my phone and then tune in to what's happening either in the dream state, what was I dreaming about, and then continuing to fall back to sleep, you know, and listening to spirit as well. So other times I get up and I've even made a cup of coffee because I saw where Seth said that if the coffee isn't going to make you agitated and keep you awake, it actually enhances the dream state to have that caffeine. I don't remember where I saw it, but it's somewhere in his material.
So I'm looking at findingseth.com, and it looks like a big chunk of the sleep information is in Seth Speaks.
Okay.
Chapter 8. One of the ones that always comes to my mind from Seth, and Seth says, ideally sleeping 5 hours at a time you gain the maximum benefit. And anything else over this time is not nearly as helpful. He also says sleeping in chunks, like 5 hours, take a nap, and 5 more hours or 4 more hours.
Yep. And it seems that it's threes for me. So it's like, I might go to bed at 11, then I'm up at 2-ish, 2:30, then I'll be up for a little while, then I fall asleep again. So I I certainly get enough sleep throughout the day. I love to nap. I'm a great napper, but I find that I'm so busy now that I'm not doing anything. Like I get involved in projects, whether it be, web design or, whatever it is, cleaning, that I miss napping, you know, but, um, but overnight I probably get at least 3 3-hour chunks. That's a lot of sleep.
I like to take a nap about 1 o'clock for about an hour, and then I'm good for the rest of the day and into the evening.
Okay. Yeah, when I nap, it's usually a 2 2.5 hour nap. So I'm a heavy napper. Hi, Audrey. How are you doing?
Okay.
You get your tooth fixed?
No, I'm in self-quarantine. I left the state and I have to quarantine for 14 days, but it's not as bad as it was.
Oh, that happened to me too. And I went and got a test. So I got a COVID test. I'm COVID negative. So
Okay.
if you get the test done, then they can see you sooner. That's what they told me.
How bad was the test?
Not bad at all. It
Oh,
really wasn't. The fella that administered it, though, I was clearly scared. My blood pressure was high. And I'm like, look, I just need you to be gentle and easy with me. And he really was.
oh,
So it wasn't bad at all. It was like a long spaghetti noodle,
oh,
it wasn't super rigid. Like I had originally thought like a Q-tip, a long Q-tip. It's not like that at all. Not at all.
okay.
It's pliable and it really hits you in the back of your throat.
Okay.
It's okay. And I'm a gagger. I gag when I brush my teeth. There was no gag reflex that happened at all. It must have been above that. So the test was not bad at all.
Okay. My nephew told me it almost hit his brain, but
I have been told that it depends on who's administering it.
okay.
So I was afraid of that, and I expressed that, and he was really very gentle with me. So
Okay.
I went to like a walk-in urgent care place.
I know I have to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you can get through. I mean, you're at 7 days now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
so
I
my
just go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Well, when I
I
hurt my tooth, my 14 days would have been up last Thursday. So I saw my dentist on Monday, but I have to go to somebody like an oral surgeon. So
uh
yeah,
that sucks.
a little bit, but mine doesn't hurt anymore. And I did the Seth practice where I went back in time to myself before any of this happened. And I imagined correcting whatever it was that happened to my tooth. So I think it's all fixed now. So I just need to go and get that confirmed.
I kind of did the same thing, and I noticed last week, with my focus on you guys, it stopped throbbing. So I don't let myself put attention on it, and I don't touch it, and I'm so far so good.
Okay. So yeah. And I love it that what did we call it? Practical Seth, right?
Yeah,
We're practicing practical Seth.
that's right.
And we are
Practical
using this
stuff.
in our everyday life. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I have some
It's time
kind
for,
of uh, bad news. Well, not bad news, but a little setback with Sonia Hamlin. I got it in my head to verify that she gave permission, and Boston University said she hadn't given permission. So I
Oh,
emailed the same lady, and she sent me an email back saying she gave her all the info to her phone, and it must have slipped her mind. So she's going to redo it, send her the info, and I'm going to just check on a weekly basis and be a pain in her butt until we get it.
good for you.
And I don't like to be a pain in people's butts, but oh well. I'll
Well,
live.
you be a pain for us.
I'm gonna.
Ah,
I'll
all right.
send you my pain in the butt energy.
Okay, so I want to read this on Facebook. So this is Judy that asked the questions that I sent to everybody. So she goes, "Oh my God, caffeine? I don't think I would go back to sleep. I finally have a healthy pattern of being able to go to sleep at a certain time and awakening approximately 9 hours later. Feel refreshed. When I was actively healing, slept a whole lot more, like 12 hours at a time. I also have to put my feet up every day, sometimes nap, feel stronger and healthier all the time. I do have active dream life. No, I need to write down, but forget the dreams so quickly, even the ones where I feel are like real life." Okay. Wow. So not everybody can do caffeine. Caffeine does not affect my sleep pattern at all. So I do think it helps me. Um, and I really think that, above all, Seth said, listen to your body, listen to how you feel. So if you feel you need 12 hours, you need one whole long chunk, then that's what your body needs. Listen to it. This is optimal suggestions, right? Seth never told us what to do. He gave us suggestions that might help different phases of our life. And as far as writing down your dreams, I am not a good at writing mine down either. However, everybody's got a phone by their bed or a little recorder. Just start talking. Just turn it on and talk your dream before you get and forget it. And that helps tremendously. Or even just write down some key words. And when you look at those words, bigger chunks will come back.
If you have a cat, they wake you up, so you
And
remember your dreams.
right, exactly. That's a good thing. Sometimes, having to go to the bathroom wakes you up and you can remember them.
Yeah.
Hello, Mickey. Oh, you're muted.
Hey.
Un Unmute yourself, darling. So yeah, animals can help us with awakening and remembering our dreams. I remember going through a process where I set an alarm that is like there's apps for your phone that do a gentle awakening. So it starts real low and it builds and builds until you wake up. And then you can set it to do it at certain times and then fall back to sleep. I think they're called OBE bells. So there are apps out there, search either Google if you have an Android or the Apple Store if you have a iPhone. And there are so many things out there that can help us achieve some of these out of body experiences, just remembering our dreams by waking up at different times during the dream state.
For me, the big moments in my dreams, I automatically wake up. The big ones that
Okay.
have meaning.
Mm-hmm,
Or
mm-hmm.
it could be the cat also, but or both. But I see it seems in the morning, like 5 o'clock, always.
Okay. All right. Well, and we know that we talked about the fact that our animals do see spirits. So it could very well be the cat because you're having real, even though dreams seem to be not real to us, but Seth said that the dream state is actually more like our real self because our filters are not happening.
Yeah.
So awesome. I hope that helps, Judy.
When I get into the Seth material, for me, the things that I love to do is not so much the why of Seth material, but the how of Seth material. I'm into the mechanics of it and the engineering and how it all works and understanding that part of it. It's like how do we think? Why do we think? Why are the atoms and the molecules in my TV monitor a TV monitor and not a chair or an arm or a cat? Those are the questions that I've pursued my whole life.
Mm.
It's been quite interesting. So if you want to talk about the uh, what was the other question about? It was dimensions,
It was,
dimensional realities,
now hold
or
on.
where
It
they
says,
intersect.
living in multiple dimensions where they all connect in the present moment. How to become cognizant of those alternate realities. Is it possible? And I
Yes.
wrote these questions in the chat window if anybody wants to go back and read them. Yeah, what do you think about that, Jeff?
Well, there's a couple things that I don't know if we live in different reality or different at one time. Our home channel, we're tuned to our home channel. Everything is vibration. Everything that comes from all that is a vibration. Our eyes pick up vibrations, our ears pick up vibrations, our other senses pick up vibrations, and then our mind translates those vibrations into convincing us we see, hear, and smell things, when actuality it's all an illusion. Dimensional realities, it's really, I think Seth pretty much describes them as, like, I compare it to a car radio when you're on 99.7 FM is your home channel, and the other channels are 105 or 87, and you don't pick those up unless you can tune your personal vibrational range to match that, just like a car radio would. You won't pick up 99.7 unless you're on 99.7. I'm sure we have a lot of musicians out there, and I was struck the other day when I was playing my guitar that the dimensional realities are like guitar strings. The strings vibrate, but they don't meet. The thing that interprets the vibrations are not the planes of existence, it's you. You're the one that can read all of the different vibrational ranges. It's just that you need to tune your personal body frequency to that channel. And I think one of the questions was, how do we do it? And I know a lot of my Sethi friends say the way that you do that is through mindful meditation. I'm not talking about guided meditations now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the true Zen meditation where you watch your reality go by you and you pick and choose what you want to jump in on. Because the human brain doesn't really think. Consciousness is all around you. All of the things that you think are all around you. Your brain work picks them out of the ethers. And because of the law of attraction to magnetism, like thoughts attract like thoughts. So as soon as you start thinking about something, everything that's similar to that starts coming to you. It's like a magnet being drawn to you. So mindful meditation is where you, sit quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Most people stare at a fixed point, and it's quiet, where your body quiets down. It increases your body frequency, enabling you into other realms of consciousness. And Seth says you really don't need to do it much, maybe 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. So if you're going to do your mindful meditation, I was lucky. I had a Zen priest teach me how to do meditation. When you sit quietly, they put their hands like this. And the reason for that is if they fall asleep, their hands come dislodged and they wake up. I thought that was interesting.
That was my problem. I always fell asleep.
It's one on top of the other with your thumbs together, and they put it in their lap. Then if you fall asleep, your hands come dislodged from each other and you wake up. So if you're a beginner and you want to get into mindful meditation, sit quietly. You can quietly count to 10 in your mind. Once you get to 10, you start over again at 1. A lot of people at the beginning will find themselves when they get to 10, they'll immediately go to 11, 12, 13, 14. That's okay. Just remember to go back to 1. And it gives the little bit of conscious mind that's awake something to do. It's not evasive while you're in meditation. I hope that was helpful.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
I just keep thinking about some of the caveats. Um, I love what you said. I love the feel of it. I love the sound of it. And I especially love the truth of it. Profound and really, really hits deep. However, I'm 73 years old and 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away from that being the next number. And it took more than 3/4 of that for me to understand how heavy what you said is. Okay. I played with it. I started meditating at 6. So my point is that during the different decades of your understanding, not necessarily of your life, but there are levels of understanding. There are decades when you get a tiny bit better and a tiny bit better. But during whatever those levels are for you, you have to be committed and focused on the fact that that's what you want to accomplish. And as you were speaking, I thought about not only the hows of doing it, which is wonderful, because you're right on, but I thought about in order to do what you're saying, in order for a person to just simply be quiet, for instance, we have a problem with that now. Okay. This is the first time in history when that is not even simple anymore. People don't know how to be quiet. And a lot of times it's not their fault. They can't even work on it because of some other things they haven't done yet. They don't have the ability to simply say in the household, I'll be back in 15 minutes, but I have something to do. And we have a popular commercial over here where a guy is talking to the camera on Zoom, and he's talking about the fact that siblings bring problems and siblings do this and that, and they won't stay out of my room and they don't knock and blah, blah, blah. And the whole time he's talking, there's a little brother that comes in the background and goes to the desk and rifles through his papers, leaves, and then comes back again. So it's illustrating what he's saying. And it really made me think about when you were talking, if a person wants to be quiet, even for a short time, it depends so much on the other intentions you had before that, the other focus. Can you say to those others in your home, I need to be away for 15 minutes. Don't bother me. And will they actually respect that? Do they have enough understanding of you as a person to realize that when you say it, you mean it, and that they can gleefully do something else, but do not disturb me? And I say that because I know how profoundly it affects you when you're in deep meditation. If someone abruptly snatches you out, and it can be psychically dangerous, for instance, that's just my belief. But the pain of it, if it happens, is heavy. It makes it difficult for you to want to attain such levels again, whether you realize it or not. You're kind of held back because it was a hell of a thing to have happen. And so I kept thinking when you were talking about the person you've got to commit to be when you make the decision that you want to learn about the universe. You want to learn what is it that Seth was saying. It's innovative, it's interesting, and so forth, but it's deep. And some people only, are interested in the superficial stuff. Wow, man, did you know this guy was talking through this woman? And you could hear it and blah, blah. Beyond all that, the man who spoke was really, really profound. His effect on the world. I've ventured to say if more than 50% of the people on the planet actually knew what Seth was about, this would be a totally different planet. So the stuff is important. So for those of us out there who want to actually use it, then we've got to clean up some other things too. And your relationship to your world, your control over your world. Do you even realize you have a right to control your world? Sometimes people are so guilty for just saying, leave me alone for 15 minutes.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
Not only that, but the relationship that you have with yourself.
yes, yes, it's all about, it's about intention, as Seth says, but it's about it on so many levels that you don't really at first realize the amount of cleaning up you have to do because we have not been taught our own value. We've been taught to be guilty about assessing and understanding our own value in the universe. Oh no, you're being egotistical and you're being this and you're being that. But what if I was born God? What if I was born the next Buddha? What if I was born? You won't even find out until you understand that it's possible. The Dalai Lama, for instance. So,
And a lot of people are looking for the answers in the wrong place.
yes,
They look outside of themselves.
yes,
When all the answers lie inside, and
yeah,
most of the answers are very simple, and we try to make it hard.
yeah. I want to know what Jesus saw when he looked in a mirror. Okay. I'd love to know what any of his thoughts were, or that whole thing of, I'm looking at myself, and on a human level, what did that man think? Did he have any inkling for how, at what point in his life did he have an inkling of who he was? And it goes back to Seth. And early Jane, when she looked in the mirror, did she have any inkling she was going to change the
Exactly.
world?
That's a really good question. Because we can all change the world.
Yes.
And it is all about setting healthy boundaries. And most people don't, especially moms and dads, right? Because they're at everybody's beck and call. But also, being a mom really does teach you to tune stuff out too. So, like,
Yeah.
I can meditate in lots of stuff going on. It doesn't bother me at all.
Most people, once they learn how to do it, they can meditate anywhere.
Mhm, mhm.
Took
For
me a
those
while,
who,
but you're right.
for those Facebook Sethies, I like that. Facebook Sethies, if you really want to get into meditation, and it's really, it's wonderful if you've never done it. Most communities have a Zen center, and that's their whole focus is meditation. Some of my Zen friends, they meditate for like 2 and 3 days straight with meal and potty breaks. But they'll teach you how to do the mindful meditation, and they always have meditations in the morning and stuff. You can join and be other people who are doing what you're doing. They might not have the Seth beliefs, but they are certainly open because it's very much their beliefs very much tag along with Seth also. So
There's loads of meditations on YouTube, for instance. There's loads, just some of them are 2 and 3 hours long where you have beautiful music, and if you can put your headphones on, then you're gone. you know, Take as much of it as you need.
mhm.
Mhm, mhm.
It's a wonderful place to be inside your own head.
I find I was really I found it most interesting to sit quietly and watch your inner thoughts go by without interacting with them. So for people who've never done that, it sounds kind of wonky, but it really is interesting and refreshing.
It is. the trick is to not interact, when the thing goes by. Hands off, just let it go by, make note. Yeah.
I had a teacher once that told me, she says, just think about yourself as a doorman. And the thoughts are people coming into the hotel. You don't want to follow them up to their room. You just want to open the door and let them go up by themselves.
That's fantastic.
It was a really good visualization for me to get not to follow, because I mean, I heard the one about, the leaf going down the river and you don't jump in and follow the leaf down the river. But yeah, we do that. But the doorman one really worked for me.
Yeah.
And I've done most of my meditation came from visualization meditations and Bert Goldman, I can't talk about meditation without talking about that man. And he really taught jumping into parallel dimensions and meeting your other dimensional selves to gain their knowledge or their vibration. And he talked about it in just that way. And it was very easy for me to follow his guidance. And so now I don't have any trouble just doing it on my own, following his guidance. However, I do have a hard time if I don't do the procedures like the 3-to-1 count or, I kind of locked myself into that little niche. But it works for me. So I just
What's his name?
Bert Goldman. He just passed away, I think, in May. But you can find his information.
Wow.
His stuff is called quantum jumping.
I didn't realize he had passed.
He did. Oh my God.
Oh,
His daughters put the notification on Facebook. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
He was in his 90s.
Yeah, but you forget. I mean,
he
doing all of this back in the 70s could have been yesterday as far as your memory of it is concerned. And I mean, the moment you bring his name up, I just see Bert and then I forget.
Yeah.
This is 2020.
Yeah. 2020. That was awesome. And he was still painting right up until he got sick. And it wasn't COVID related. And his family was with him. So it was all good. But he, what
a wonderful man.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. And you can find his stuff on YouTube. Mind Valley sells his stuff. And it's buried. You have to know exactly what it's called to find it. So quantum jumping is the name of the stuff. And I use it every day. And it's setting that intention to meet the doppelganger you that can give you whatever it is that you desire. So whether it be artwork or a financial transaction or your spirit guide or, a past life, your intention can be anything. So, I do that all the time. And I got guidance the other night and I'm not, so we can talk about this. What did Seth call it? A1 and A2. Is that right? In A2, we create the physical reality and then we live it in A1. Is that right?
I don't remember.
Framework 1 and 2.
Framework 1. Yeah. That's
framework 1 and 2. Yeah.
So what I was told in this meditation is that the life that we're creating, the reality that we're creating right now is actually being created in framework 2 to be the new earth where we're going. And that just gave me chills everywhere. That, we may not be seeing what we're manifesting right here, right now. We are creating a new earth with a better, more loving, connected physical reality. Everything. Where there is no hate and there is no resentment and there is no guilt and there is cooperative living and that.
What an idea.
I know. And but those are the thought patterns and we are creating that now.
A lot of A lot of
Lovely.
people call that the fourth density. We're in the third density going to the fourth density. The
Okay.
density is more like a vibrational plane. Same thing, just different people talking about it.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah. Oh, that's very
And
reassuring.
remember, there is Kate 2 in Framework 2
Oh,
and Kate 1 in Framework 1. So it's not like it's void of us. It's we're there creating this for us now.
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you think about it being timeless and everything, like stop thinking of things as being
Sequential.
lateral. Think of it as
Yeah.
horizontal, that everything is happening right now. Like Jeff said in the beginning, the radio station, we're here on this station, we just need to tune it over here or over here. It's not higher or lower than us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just move it over a little bit, move it over this way a little bit.
You
And
know,
and then we can connect to that with our intention to do that.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
when I tune my guitar, I have an electronic tuner. So I know there's a lot of musicians out there.
Yeah.
And the 6 strings, the A, E, D, G, B, E, are frequencies apart. And on my tuner, if I'm on A flat, that means I'm below the frequency. And I watch the tuning needle go up. Then
Yeah.
it goes up to A.
Yeah.
And then when I go to A sharp, it'll go past that. And then it'll go to G. Then I have to tune it down. So you can
Yeah.
see how the little tunes
Mhm.
alter the frequencies to go into a different,
Mhm.
sometimes into a totally different octave.
Mhm.
We have to have a conversation about the 4-3-2 and all that crap another time off of here, you and I. We have a verbal date.
The 4, 3, and 2, as in frameworks 1, 2, and 3, or as in
No, as
vibration?
in the frequencies, the 528 and all of that. Yeah.
Oh,
big-
yeah.
We'll talk about that when we're not taking up the panel time, but
And
you're on.
Seth talks about people who what we would call mental health, people who are schizophrenic.
Yes.
It's not that they have mental health issues, it's that they've drifted off the home channel.
Yes, I can understand that.
Oh, that's a neat way of putting it. Thank you.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
The same
yes,
way
yes.
your radio starts getting static when you
Mm,
on the new radios you have a seek button and it does
Yep.
the same thing.
yes. Oh,
You
that's
can
so
get a
interesting.
seek button put in our brain and we can
Well,
go to a different
at some
reality.
reality, in some reality, they've discovered that. So they would have eliminated mental illness as a possibility. You'd have an automatic attunement so that you're always in the right dimension.
Yeah, he says they drifted off the home channel and they get bleed throughs. So their hallucinations. It's not that they're not real; it's that they're
Mhm.
real in a different dimension and they're just bleeding through into this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a retired social worker, so I
Oh, okay.
kind of incorporated that into my work.
That's a very
Very interesting.
interesting take on things. Yes, that really answers a lot of stuff. That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Hello, Martyn.
Hello,
Hi,
sorry it
Martyn.
took me a
Hi,
bit.
Martyn.
I kept getting emails from, well, not emails, but messages from friends, and I kept trying to respond to them and get here, and it just didn't work.
It's okay.
Well, I'm
They're
still
sending me
adjusting to
emails.
the
They want me
change.
to. Yeah, they keep sending me messages. They want me to go to church with them, but they live in a whole other state, so they must think they're talking to somebody else. I don't know.
Oh,
Probable you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
A little confusing, but I'm here now.
well,
Good to see.
welcome.
Thank you.
One of the things that you were talking about, Kate, is reaching back to a probable self or reaching forward to your probable self, which is really interesting because I've been in the Seth material for 30 some odd years. And throughout those 30 years, I've actually done that. And now it's interesting because I can look back and connect with that person sending it forward. I remember her. So for our Facebook Sethians, if you can do that now, and if you stay in the Seth material long enough, you'll be able down the road to look back and hook into what you're sending now. It's interesting how it works.
Yes, that's true. Wow. There's so much to
Everything that's
do.
ever happened, anything that's ever happened or ever will happen has already happened.
It's
Right.
already
Anything that's
happening.
known or ever will be
Happening
known
right
is
now.
already- anything's already it's known or ever will be known is already known.
Yeah. Wow.
So
That's
knowing that I
incredible.
have a higher self, and I do Dolores Cannon's past life regression. So knowing that we all have a higher self, I know that all of us have made it. And we're already everything. We're already connected to all that is. We already know all the information, and we can connect to that higher self. So it gives great hope that we're on the right track.
You know, for people who are not used to doing it, if you want to know something or if you want to learn something, all you have to do is ask your higher self and it'll come to you.
Yes.
It usually takes me about 3 days because of the time, space-time plane. It's not an instantaneous thing, but in a couple of days, it'll come to you. I'm using the law of attraction to learn how to play the guitar. I think it's been very interesting.
Nice. You know, we have a Facebook friend, Charlie, and he's watching us right now, and he teaches guitar and
I don't know what's going on.
terrific guy. Maybe you guys can connect. You know, Charles Dennis is his name on Facebook, but I call him Charlie. So
excellent.
yeah.
So Charlie, you know all about watching the frequencies change on your tuner.
He hasn't answered yet.
No,
There's a little bit of lag here, but I'm sure
that's okay.
He's a terrific guy. Yeah. But
You've just cost me some money, by the way.
what?
I have to get a tuner, electronic tuner.
Oh, you know
Oh,
what?
do you?
I have one on my iPhone. I use that.
Really?
Yeah, there's one, the Fender one. If it's for a guitar, there's a Fender app that's really good. It's free.
Charlie says, "Thank you, Kate. Love to." The one that I have is, because I use it to tune my guitar, is well, I have Piano Tuner, which I use that to figure out what my singing bowls are, like what note to play. I use that a lot. Oh, just Guitar Tuner. I don't know. It looks.
I can't speak highly enough about the Fender app.
That one.
Yeah.
I have a clip-on for my headstock, and then sometimes
What happened?
it doesn't hear. It picks up the vibrations in the wood and stuff. So sometimes
Where did my volume go?
I will double check between my Fender amp and my clip-on to make sure they're accurate.
Yeah. That sounds good. I pull that up on Google.
So Charlie says
save it.
He says, I have a strobe tuner. Yes. I don't know what that means, but
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because you can watch the vibrational fields change.
Right. Exactly.
Well, and did you, I mean, I've learned this. Actually, it was Bert Goldman that taught me this too. He teaches me everything still.
Why did that do that?
He says,
I'm probably gonna just have to delete.
Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna mute. I can't. Isn't that interesting? Okay, I can't mute Martyn. If you have a guitar and a piano in the same room, close to each other, and if you hit the key on the piano, it will actually vibrate
on the guitar
frequency on the guitar.
Yeah.
And you know, that's amazing. And we know that singing bowls do that in different kind of chimes and gongs because feel it in our chakras when it hits that right note
The renaissance.
resonates with us. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's that whole thing about the woman high soprano singing a certain note and the wine glasses break.
The high C. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Charlie says the strobe light is really accurate. And he says, Jeff, check your private message in a minute. So he's sending you something.
Oh, hot dang.
Private message. Where do I find private messages?
Oh, messages in Facebook.
On Facebook, Messenger.
Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook. I'll check it later.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is interesting about the coffee thing that you were talking about earlier.
Caffeine.
Sleep and coffee.
Well, the caffeine
Coffee is
raise your vibration.
Stimulant.
Yeah.
It's a stimulant. It must raise your vibrational frequency even
Right.
though you're sleeping.
Yes.
So
Right,
instead of strumming an A, you're strumming a D.
Yeah, that's if you can sleep with the caffeine, and it doesn't bother me, so I'm good with that. It doesn't bother Oshara either, so I'm glad we're on the same page there.
I would imagine where that people who do hard stimulants like cocaine and methamphetamine, they really rejig their body frequency, and I would imagine that's where all their hallucinations and scary stuff comes from. There's a whole bunch of bleed throughs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Who knows what they're focused in on?
Yeah. Everything's about the resonance, though. I mean, it's just absolutely everything. And we know so little, but we're running like mad trying to catch up. You know, I'm studying it a little, and I'm at the point where I've had to spend a lot of time learning terms, learning to understand the definitions of the different terminology. And now I can concentrate more on understanding about resonance itself and how things relate to each other, and it's just fascinating stuff because you really can use it in your life every day. It affects everything. So the more you start to understand that, the more you can use it.
Everything is vibration and frequency.
Yeah. Like people who have these stoves now that are radiant energy and so forth. You're cooking with it instead of natural gas and so forth. It's just all about vibration. I can see where we're each a particularly unique vibration or group of vibrations that cause us to manifest in a certain way, when actually it's all vibrations. It's not a visual me sitting here with wearing such and such a clothes. It's a certain vibration that has other vibrations in its area, tuned up or down or in unique ways. So it's about putting our minds to that and knowing how to use the intention of how we want to fine tune it.
We're all radio.
Yeah.
Our perception of a physical world of solid things is just an illusion.
It's such crap. Yeah.
So what do we know about camouflage settings, right? So Seth talked about
camouflage reality.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that is what the meditation is about today. It says seeing through camouflage settings.
Okay.
So so I don't know very much. I mean, I kind of get the gist of it. It is a framework for how we view things. What anybody else have any, more in depth?
That's really how I saw it. I mean, that's simple version of it. It's really a good way of looking at it. It's just, yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Okay.
Camouflage reality is what Seth talks about it a lot. The reality of the plane of solids is just an illusion. It's all camouflage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So before I got to Seth, I did A Course in Miracles, and that really set me up for getting that, because it was all about nothing is real, and that everything is just an illusion or a dream.
It is real. It's just that it's not what we think it is.
Well, and right.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're caught up in a mirage of bull. It's
A mirage of bull. Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
oh, what could I say? We're humans.
We're in the same mirage.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's a good way to say it. Same mirage, yeah. And it's all a mirage.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I mean, it takes you back to that movie Matrix, you know. That was such a
I have to
Yeah.
rewatch that.
that yeah, me too. Me too. I said that the other day
And
because
it's really the first one.
yes,
A
exactly.
new one coming out.
I know, but I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Because even when they did the sequels, it's the first one that really had the impact. And really,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
They
Yeah.
were trying to capitalize after that. So
Yeah. It's interesting. Camouflage is something you wear to hide from something. Is there
Mhm.
something? Is there some meaning in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Who,
It's to blend
who
in.
are we hiding from?
What
Or
I'm
who are we being?
not hiding, but blending in
Mhm.
to our
Yeah.
surroundings.
Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. Very good.
Being incognito.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, yeah. So the meditation is going to be really interesting then.
It is. Are y'all up for it? Should we start that now? I'm not
Yeah.
really expecting
Oh
any
yeah.
new
Oh
to
yeah.
be on, and we've got quite a group sitting on Facebook. So why don't we go ahead and settle in and close our eyes, and let's just unify our space together using our breath. With our first breath, take it in through your nose all the way down to your belly and hold. And release fully through your mouth. And now a second breath. And hold and release. Now just listen to my voice as I read Seth's words on seeing through camouflage settings. Since you all have a hand in forming this physical setting, and since you are ensconced yourself in a physical form, then using the physical senses, you will only perceive this fantastic setting. The reality that exists both within it and beyond it will elude you. Even the actor is not entirely three-dimensional, however. He is a part of a multidimensional self. Within him, there are methods of perception that allow him to see through the camouflage settings, to see beyond the stage. He uses these inner senses constantly, though the actor part of himself is so intent upon the play that this escapes him. In a large manner, the physical senses actually form the physical reality they seem to only perceive. They are themselves part of the camouflage, but they are like lenses over your natural inner perceptions that force you to see an available field of activity as physical matter. And so they can be relied upon to tell you what is happening in a superficial manner. You can tell the position of the other actors, for example, or time by clock, but these physical senses will not tell you that time is itself a camouflage, or that consciousness forms the other actors, or that realities that you cannot see exist over and beyond the physical matter that is so apparent. You can, however, using your inner senses, perceive reality as it exists apart from the play and your role in it. In order to do this, you must, of course, momentarily at least, turn your attention away from the constant activity that is taking place. Turn off the physical senses, as it were, and switch your attention to those events that have escaped you earlier. Highly simplified indeed, the effect would be something like changing one set of glasses for another. For the physical senses are as artificial, basically speaking, to the inner self as a set of glasses or a hearing aid is to the physical self. The inner senses, therefore, are but rarely used completely consciously. You would be more than disoriented, for example, but quite terrified if between one moment and the next your familiar environment as you knew it disappeared to be replaced by other sets of data that you were not ready to understand. So much information from the inner senses must be translated in terms that you can comprehend. Such information must somehow make sense to you as three-dimensional selves, in other words. Your particular set of camouflage is not the only set, you see. Other realities have entirely different systems, but all personalities have inner senses that are attributes of consciousness. And through these inner senses, communications are maintained about which the normally conscious self knows little. Part of my purpose is to make some of these communications known. The soul or entity, then, is not the self that reads this book. Your environment is not simply the world about you as you know it, but also consists of past life environments upon which you are not now focusing. Your real environment is composed of your thoughts and emotions, for from these you form not only this reality, but each reality in which you take part. Your real environment is innocent of space and time as you know them. In your real environment, you have no need for words, for communication is instantaneous. In your real environment, you form the physical world that you know. The inner senses will allow you to perceive the reality that is independent of physical form. I will ask you all to momentarily forsake your roles, therefore, and try this simple exercise. Now pretend that you are on a lighted stage, the stage being the room in which you now sit. Pretend that the lights have gone out, the setting has disappeared, and you are alone. Everything is dark. Be quiet. Imagine as vividly as you can the existence of inner senses. For now, pretend that they correspond to your physical ones. Clear from your mind all thoughts and worries. Be receptive. Very gently listen, not to physical sounds, but to sounds that come through the inner senses. Images may begin to appear. Accept them as sights quite as valid as those you see physically. Pretend that there is an inner world and that it will be revealed to you as you learn to perceive it with these inner senses. Pretend that you have been blind to this world all your life and are now slowly gaining sight within it. Do not judge the whole inner world by the disjointed images that you may at first perceive, or by the sounds that you may at first hear, for you will still be using your inner senses quite imperfectly. Do this simple exercise for a few moments before sleep or in the resting state. It may also be done even in the midst of an ordinary task that does not take all of your attention. You will simply be learning to focus in a new dimension of awareness, taking quick snapshots, as it were, in a strange environment. Remember that you will only be perceiving snatches. Simply accept them, but do not attempt to make any overall judgments or interpretations at this stage. 10 minutes a day to begin with is quite sufficient. Now, the information in this book is being directed to some extent through the inner senses of the woman who is in trance as I write it. Such endeavor is the result of highly organized inner perception and of training. Rupert could not receive the information from me. It could not be translated nor interpreted while she was focused intensely in the physical environment. So the inner senses are channels that provide communication between various dimensions of existence. Yet even here, the information must be distorted to some extent as it is translated into physical terms. Otherwise, it would not be perceived at all. So let's just take a few minutes now to listen and focus our inner senses. Now, of all of those who want to stay in Psy-Time can do so. And for those who are ready to come back to Seth Talk, you may do so. Those who have chosen to stay in Psy-Time won't be bothered at all by those who choose to awaken and share their experiences. And when you are ready, take a few deep breaths, take your time, wiggle your fingers and toes, open your eyes, and come back to the program. Hmm. I think this was, I chose this so long ago. Way back in August, I think I set these up. And it was so fitting for everything we've talked about today.
Mm.
Do you have anything to share, Martyn?
Uh, very spontaneously. I mean, I wasn't trying to picture anything, but I kept seeing like palm trees and ferns or like
Me too.
ferns and beach grass and
Yeah.
lots just waving in the wind and little fruits like on vines hanging around. And I think like birds, but they were more like fish floating in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, tropical. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
That could have been my clock. It's a
Oh,
bird clock. And it started tweeting.
Oh, maybe.
but the visualizations were similar that you both had.
Yeah, it was more jungle-like, but
Mm.
yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
No, it was the jungle. It was like a jungle, but it was like a jungle at the beach. It was a beach. I didn't see any water, but it felt
Yeah.
like there was a beach nearby. Yeah.
And we invite all the Facebook people that participate in this to, share your experiences on Facebook, and we'll try to read them before we end. We are an hour into this, so it is 2:00 right now. So we have another hour of conversation left. And I find this just fascinating to go within. And for me, because, I'm reading and I'm very aware of time and what's happening. But my feeling tone got so loud as soon as my mouth stopped talking. And I was able to just go within. So for me, it was hearing my own body, my own frequency, hearing that resonant tone.
Funny that with the inner emotions, it made me remember earlier today a sadness came over me, a melancholy, and I'm like, where is that from? And it could have been, another reality, or honing in on that. Just
Yeah. Now that would have been a good time to just, tune in for that 10 minutes and just ask, where is this coming from? What do I need to focus on? Why am I, having this emotion? And
I did ask those questions, but I'm like, I don't want to be here, so I did something to get me out of it.
okay.
But I had had a conversation earlier of how lucky, we are. And it just was weird that all of a sudden this melancholy came over me. But it's gone.
Good, 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 good. And we talked about last week painting our inner landscape. So we can change those by just deciding to just painting a different thought process.
Or change your probable self going through
Exact. Send
it.
that probable self-love. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. You're welcome.
How are you, Mickey? You look very thoughtful.
I'm okay. I
Okay.
had a very strange experience. I became nonlinear. I I left and went somewhere where I lost my um awareness of me as Mickey, as this human person, and I went somewhere very, very deep inside where I was molecular. I was more
Mm,
like a citizen of the inside of the body realm instead of being outside thinking of it as one thing. I was like a citizen in there. And so I
Huh.
had no emotion. I had no physical awareness, no intellectual awareness. No, I mean, I simply was. And that took a lot to get used to. I just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. So I was going further and further away from a humanoid awareness. It was all pick up on a different level that I was unused to. So it was very unfamiliar. It was not at all unpleasant. It just wasn't pleasant or unpleasant. That was a scale that was not in use in that realm. So I simply was aware of simply being there.
so it was more neutral.
Yeah, very, very, very neutral. It was just another way of picking up, and I was very deeply into it, but I was not egocentric.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that was very strange. And it lasts. It's come back with me to some extent, which is great because I'm a very emotional being. And it's a way of looking at things without so much emotional awareness. It's valid. You're not even when you're a very, very emotional person, you're not even aware of the unemotional world. So you're so used to seeing everything that way. So this was really different, uniquely different. And I had no idea that this um, landscape was there
Yeah.
inside. So I'm just shocked at the me of me that was in there. That was a whole new one that I knew nothing about. I will go back. I will definitely go back.
Yay. Well, and this is, and I still haven't recorded just the meditations, and I really will do that someday.
Hmm.
But they are here. So anybody, they was about an hour into this one. So
Exactly. Yeah, you can find your way back to it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because I thought that we had come out. I don't know how to explain it. I was so aware, suddenly aware of all of you again in that world. But yet I was still in there.
Oh,
So,
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And to live between worlds or straddling
mm,
the dimensions, I think maybe is a goal for some of us.
hmm
And to be able to stay in that space and still live and walk in the human reality that we
yeah.
are.
Yeah. I didn't know you could be aware of both at the same time. So
Yes,
that was a little bit of like, whoa,
yeah.
how am I doing this? And that was okay when I realized it was all right.
Yeah.
It just stabilized and stayed.
Yeah. And like Seth said during that teaching, that as long as we're not doing something that is super highly focused, like maybe accounting or something, that
Yeah.
or web design,
Yeah.
that you could straddle both places. Yeah.
That's really interesting to do. It's
Mm.
such a feeling of control because you, I don't know how to explain it. You're able to control your awareness in both places, and there's a feeling of accomplishment there. It's new, but you're still very glad that you've just found out that you could do
Yes. Absolutely.
it. Very strange. Very strange.
Yeah.
You
Jeff
take
is
us
trying
in
to
some
talk.
strange places.
Jeff is trying to talk, but he's muted. Unmute
Oh,
yourself, Jeff.
yeah.
You,
Maybe.
you ever
There
said
you
that?
go. You're on now. I can
What
see your
passage,
mouth moving.
what book were you reading from? I mean, where
Oh,
was that found?
that was still Seth Speaks. This is the last one from Seth Speaks.
And
Oh,
what
hold on,
chapter, or actually what session?
hold on. I'll find it. I closed it. Let's see. Seth stuff. It is session 522 at page
Mm,
56. So it's really in the beginning of the book. 522.
wow, that is
You.
early.
You were asking where do we go? I went where I always go. I have this little place that I go. I call it's kind of a pocket in time. It's kind of like in between places. And that seems to be where I go when I'm in meditation or when I'm in some sort of an altered state. I call it my balcony seat.
Oh, okay.
It's a
That's
pocket of
cool.
time. I'm couched in a pocket of time.
So
A balcony seat.
the theater worked for you, right? As the lights went down, you were in your balcony.
I'm in a balcony seat watching it all go on. I'm on the stage as an actor. I'm
Yeah.
the producer. I'm the lighting person, and I'm sitting in the balcony watching it all,
Yes.
Yeah.
critiquing myself as we go along.
Great.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It is. You know,
But this, for me, was a place I'd never been. I like you, Jeffrey, I have a laboratory and so forth and grounds that I go to meditate and have done for 20 years. But this was shocking to me because it was a place I'd never been before. It was a set of dimensional awareness that I'd never known about. So it wasn't familiar. It wasn't my old familiar place for meditating.
You
Strange.
know, there are. This is going to sound completely insane, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's certain realms of the inner reality that I'm requested not to go into. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that I don't. That it's not that they're not interesting. It's that it's where our natural home is, and I
Mhm.
need to be focused into this reality and stop trying to go home. It's like if you're on a vacation and you keep getting homesick, and so you keep calling your family and your friends and your stuff.
Uh,
That's interesting.
I would spend much too much time there, and I need to be focused in what I'm doing here now, and there'll be plenty of
Mhm.
time for the other stuff later on down the road.
Mm. Mhm. Wow, you are disciplined.
Yeah.
I don't, it just, I don't know that it's me in framework one. It's probably me in framework two.
Mm. True. Yeah, that's interesting. But it's still very, very um, well disciplined.
You know, that's really why I don't get into the dream stuff a whole lot and elusive dreaming, because it keeps being shown to me that that's more of your natural state of being home. And that's not your journey right now. Your
Mm.
journey is into the plane of solids, and to learn how to navigate and learn how to responsibly create in this plane of existence. It's a privilege to be here, and
Yeah.
they can keep telling me, don't be so hurry to go, don't be in such a hurry to go somewhere else.
Hear ya. I hear that. One of our Facebook friends, Judy, she wrote about the meditation. She said it really resonated when you had discussed the fact that we are together creating the new earth. I believe I may have visited or had a preview during the meditation, and I think I realized why I even asked the question about living in alternate dimensions. I believe my soul is yearning for this place and wants to be there.
Mm.
I have something to add to that. Here's a little interesting Sethi twist on it all. We're not creating a new earth. The new earth is already there. We're just learning how to tune our vibrations to get to it.
right.
Mm.
Ah, very nice. Yes.
Good point. Yeah.
I see Martin going,
Yeah,
It's,
I've often felt that. Yeah,
because we have to
I agree
remember
with that.
everything that ever is or has been or will be is already
is
there.
yeah.
It's just us learning how to tune it in.
Mhm. Mhm.
I guess we could put filters on it, just like you do searches, and say, you know what, I don't want pain, I don't want violence, and then click the button and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. You know we'll have to try it now that you said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you do that and report back.
Yeah. Now we know the new earth is a higher vibrational, so and the only way that I know for higher vibrational is to meditate and
Meditate.
go within and live in peace and joy and happiness and stop watching the news.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
live in peace and harmony with nature wherever you happen to be.
Mhm.
And remember that the way to tomorrow is through today.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
Harder done than said.
True.
You know, it's strange we're talking about vibration and frequency and everything. Uh, about a year ago, I had to have my dog put down, and I was so full of emotion. It was just like a blanket over me. And then what I did is I started leaning into it like you would lean into the wind, and just detangle it, and it just all went past me. It was really interesting.
Hmm.
So if you're
Ooh,
full of emotion and you got all this stuff coming at you like a river, just lean into it.
interesting. You got guts.
Yeah, really.
You really don't have any alternative.
You got
Either
guts.
try it or you sit there with it sitting in your funk.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes guts just to even say that you have no alternative. See, you don't get it. You've got guts.
So Judy's answering, or she's commenting and asking questions still. Does that mean that if I could attune or raise my vibration to the new Earth station, that I could jump there and stay there? And then she giggling at what Jeff said. She says, LOL, you can't skip today. Love that. The way to tomorrow is through today. I will remember that. Thank you.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was beautiful.
You have all the answers. You just need to look inside yourself.
Yes.
You have to
True.
know that there's a portion of you, your higher self, that has access to everything that's ever been or ever will be. And if
Mhm.
you ask, so many people forget to ask. If you ask that it presented or be given to you, and then you get quiet and you wait for the answer, it'll come.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
might not come like we're talking, but it'll present itself.
It will present itself, and someone will be talking. Yeah. Somehow in your within your environment there will be a voice, and of whatever kind, you know. But that truth will be voiced. The next option.
I
Whoa.
seem to get knowings. Knowings are very hard to describe.
Right.
They're just that you
Right.
just know, you know.
Well, other people want a whole lot of yada yada about it, but once the knowing happens, it becomes difficult to find reasons to make it acceptable to others. You know, it's like you
Well,
no
yeah.
longer care to make it acceptable because you already know it. You're
And
not trying to know it.
there's no vocabulary for it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
how we communicate with each other non-verbally. We're not giving each other words and phrases. We're conveying knowings to each other.
Yes, we are. We're sharing
It's
our
like a
knowings.
packet of information.
I would imagine that if you are really, really super new to the Seth material, that it might be a stretch to understand some of what we're saying because we're so used to it. I've done the wiggling it down that it takes to get it down my throat. I went through years in some cases of making it all right to agree that this or this or this is the way things are. Some of it I had to just simply accept. But it's about that journey of what you're doing when you're going through the process of acceptance. There are things happening, there are emotions happening, there are reactions, and you agree to react this way or that way. You know, you pick your path. You are
Yeah.
actually choosing your karma. And then you get to suddenly you look up and it's been 40 years. You've all this stuff has become a part of you. It's the landscape inside me now. So it's sometimes very difficult to explain.
It
I
is.
have a couple of relatives who are just beginning to even think that it's all right to read about
Oh,
the Seth stuff. You know, they weren't interested, but now we're at a point where they might not groan if I mention it. So
That's
well,
why
yeah,
I think it's so important to have other Sethies to talk to.
yes.
Because
yes,
we talk about things other people just look at us and roll their eyes about.
right.
Well,
But
wait.
then they try to figure out what it is we're talking about, and you're finding new ways of communicating what you already learned to understand, to know.
And sometimes when I get mad at myself, I say, gosh darn it. Well, maybe not in so many words, but gosh darn it, I created this, and if I can create this, I can
Yes,
uncreate it.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Yes,
Oh
yes,
yes, yes. My nightly beatings.
yes.
Yes.
Now you talk about new people and what they have to, we're trying to explain things. Next week, the side time that we're going to do is from the early sessions, book one. So you guys are both reading those, right?
Yes.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes.
Well, it's astral projection technique one.
Okay.
Mm,
Yes.
Do we
wow.
have a, what session is that? It's like session
Uh,
9 or 10 or 11.
it says session 265. It's on page 210.
You're way ahead of me.
265.
Okay.
265. So
Is that the early session book one?
yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were that many sessions in book one.
I'm not there yet.
Uh, you know,
I'm on session 9.
okay. Well, I'm taking this from the book, The Compilation of Exercises. It's a PDF I got off the internet, and I have not confirmed that that's in fact where these are, but that's what it says.
There's a book that has a lot of exercises in it. is it the nature of personal reality or
Mhm.
the
I
unknown
think it's the
reality?
nature of personal reality.
Personal
Maybe.
reality
So
has,
Yeah.
I finished all the ones in Seth Speaks.
Yeah.
So we've done all those. And now I'm moving on to Early Sessions Book 1.
Oh, I'm
And
so
I'm
tickled.
trying to think. So Seth Speaks, Early Sessions Book 1. Then the next one we'll jump into is the individual and nature of mass events, and then nature of personal reality, and then nature of the psyche, and then unknown reality, volume 1, volume 2, and there's a few from The Way Towards Health.
Well,
So
when you get to unknown reality, we're all gonna just vibrate right off the couch.
vibrate.
Just-
Well, all righty then. And so
we'll be levitating.
yeah, and I don't know, there's 120 pages of this stuff that I'm going through.
Mhm.
So, and you guys are going to get it all. And eventually I will do separate ones, I will.
I think one of the subjects we should cover down the road is feeling tones.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, we talked I think we might have done
We did.
feeling
Yeah.
tones, and that's in nature of personality.
But we could do that again. Yeah.
Absolutely. When we get to it, we'll get to it. Because now
Yeah.
I was jumping around. Now I'm kind of doing them in order. That's a
Mhm.
lot easier for me to figure it all out.
Mhm.
And it's the order in which Seth really presented them.
Right.
I should have started with book 1 and then went to Seth Speaks. So we
Well,
a little bit.
no, it's what we did what we should have done.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could have understood the early sessions if I didn't have the background of the other body of work.
Yeah. I agree with you too. I mean, I read Nature of Personal Reality first and then went to Seth Speaks and then the Seth material.
Wow.
I still haven't read the other books. I mean, I will open them and go to certain places and read them. My favorite thing though is like the memes from Ivan and Ron Card and then the
Yeah.
explanations on, how they perceive them to mean. In the very beginning, that's how I got most of my learning.
Mm.
It's
So
a really,
when I say
I'm
I
sorry,
don't know what book they're in, it's because I saw it in a meme.
that is like a book of its own almost. It's really brilliant.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And people's interpretation is so important. I think that's why, doing this, living the Seth way and talking about what we do and doing the meditations. I didn't even realize when I was reading these books that the meditations were something to be done. It was just something to read.
Right.
And they're making such a difference in my life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
that's what.
I started out on Seth Speaks and then went to the unknown reality.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I read every Seth book one after the next.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't know what's in what book and what's in the other. Oversoul 7 trilogy.
I'm
my
trying to
favorite.
read this one. Yeah. I'm not very
Oh,
far
wow.
into it. But
That brings a
I
whole new dimension.
I identify with Oversoul 7.
Me
Actually,
too.
Okay.
I think everybody does.
Some of my personas online is 7 is my name. Because I get so lost and entrapped in my creations. Just so hopelessly lost. I have to ask my Oversoul for help to make understand what it is
But
I'm
wasn't
doing.
it brilliant of Seth and Jane to bring out the Oversoul series as a part of how you're looking at all of this stuff he's laying on us?
it
Because
made a lot of
it
sense.
lightened it up so
Yes.
much. It made it all right to be a neophyte. It made it all right to ask dumb questions because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
all had purpose.
And,
You
and
know,
there's
especially-
people that want to make a movie out of this book. Like I keep hearing about it from
yeah, I do, but I don't know how in the hell you do that.
No, the movie rights have already been bought for it.
They-
It's
I
just never
know.
used.
and the screenplay is written.
Oh,
We talked
I
to
think-
the
Wow.
that did it.
I think they should turn it into a TV series,
Mini series, yeah.
Yeah.
an
That
ongoing
would,
series.
that
You
would,
know, the third Oversoul 7 book, Oversoul 7 in the Museum of Time,
of time.
is a
Yeah.
good book if you're trying to understand everything happening simultaneously and being able to perceive from one dimension into the other. Because, so Seth actually says it's possible for us to perceive in other time space realities, like 1850 or whatever. You just can't interact with it. You can perceive it, you just can't interact with it. So it's kind of like having your balcony seat in the 18 time period you want to be.
But that
Like,
reminds me of that whole series on TV, The Librarians. With what's his name, that comedian that was so deadpan. Can't think of his name. But it's like that, where you have these people whose quest is to preserve all the fabulous spiritual artifacts and how they functioned in time, and it reminds me of Oversoul and the way he was functioning with his higher selves, and they were training him and kind of patting him on the head every now and then, saying, "Oh yes, don't worry, you'll understand in a minute." Just very similar. I just can't imagine being able to bring it truthfully to film because of the one religion nature of America. So I don't know. I can just
Maybe
picture all
that-
I
kinds
don't
of
know,
folks
they
jumping up
brought
and
the-
down.
They brought
Huh?
Merlin to the screen, so
Yeah,
I said maybe that's why it's sitting on a shelf.
yeah, that
Yeah.
might be why, because I can't imagine the way we're so devoted to each our very own view of religion, and the fact that there's no room for any other view. It just,
yeah,
I don't know.
Seth kind of embraces all religions. Seth isn't a
Exactly,
religion.
exactly. Well,
Seth kind of explains how religion works.
yeah, I think he enlightens us unilaterally. Each one that we're hooked on, he kind of pats us each on the head and says, "Don't worry, you'll get over it."
Yes.
So
I have a very devout.
Hang with me, hang
Muslim.
with me. We'll get you over this. Oh God.
So while we're on the Oversoul 7 concept, Seth says we all have oversouls. I actually talk to mine
Yeah.
all the time. It's
Yeah.
what helps me. It's the one who's responsible to help you through this existence or whatever it is. Anyway,
Right.
So here's a question. I have an oversoul. My oversoul has an oversoul.
Yes.
Oversoul's oversoul has an oversoul, and on and on and on. Does God have an oversoul?
I'm sure that must
Or
be
all
true.
it is? Does it have an oversoul?
I believe so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Have to, but it's
I think so.
well out of my realm of understanding.
Well, I remember Seth, I don't remember if it was Seth or Seth too, but one of the two of those guys was talking about the agony that all that is went through because it couldn't create. So it broke into the fragment, which we are, the oversouls. And that it was so long since it was alone that it didn't remember if there was anything that came before it. So I think the answer is absolutely yes.
I think so too. It makes me think about the Taurus again, but the toroidal nature of things. Escher, if you think of something that becomes something else as it goes on, it changes into something else, which can then change back into, eventually it gets back around to its original self. It's a circuit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that there's something above all that is, and that it's part of all the rest of what is.
Just is.
Yeah, just is.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Then you'd have is.
Yeah, the isness.
And of course, to cut that down again, what do you end up with? I. We're back to I, and it brings us back to I.
We're all just pieces of all that is.
We're all
I like
pieces
to
of
think of it more as a reflection of all that is.
Yeah, I think of it as pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you say reflection, you're getting holographic, where the tiniest little bit is still whole. The concept is still
Absolutely.
absolutely whole. So it's not fragmented at all.
Well, that's what, remember when we talked last week about fragment personalities?
Yeah, yeah,
Each fragment personality contains all the elements of the whole. It's just not what's focused upon.
right.
Some are dim and some are bright, is like I call it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's all there. It's
Interesting.
like a stem
And there are
cell
hollow.
has all the
Yeah,
pieces of the human. It's just focused
exactly.
in on what it's doing.
Undifferentiated.
Do I
Yeah,
want to be a nose or an
undifferentiated.
ear or a lung or
It can become anything it needs to become.
Mhm.
Yes.
Joe on Facebook just said only recently she read a scientist saying they think they found proof that this universe sprang from another universe.
Yeah, I
So
read.
Mhm.
again, you know, there's all and this whole thing about creating, right?
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I think about is, you know, they say the universe is finite and they say that, things are, we know what the smallest piece of something is, and our scientists keep looking for more outside the universe and smaller things, and they keep finding them. Well, I think they're creating them. So,
Yes.
because just the mere of looking for stuff
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
creating.
creates it?
Exactly.
So if we're looking for what came before all that is, or the universe, or however you want to think about it, of course, that is going to be created and perceived.
I
And
think that
eventually
that's true.
proved.
There's no way for it to end.
No,
It's
No,
because it's infinitely spiritual.
yes.
So it would have to continue to create.
they've
Yeah.
come to it. They've developed a new theory, the unified string theory.
Mm.
Unified string theory,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing. Is the multiple dimensions and
Yeah.
realities and
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it
Strength
that
strength
science
the
is catching
theory can
up
tie
with
you up in
spirituality.
knots. Yeah.
and then Seth would say which you and which reality.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
You could choose which you want to be today, I guess.
Yeah. Or tomorrow or the next day or the next, because it's all happening now.
Mhm.
Right.
You're being everything that can be. Whatever's possible to exist does exist somewhere at some point.
And
You
as
know.
soon as you think it, you create it, and then
Yes.
if it didn't exist, it exists.
I have a real heavy attachment to that idea because I'm really, really adamant about people being careful what they think, because people are unaware of how true it is that the second you formulate the very idea of something, it goes on and has a life of its own. Whether you choose to ever think about it again or not, it's now created as a
Mm.
I think
concept.
I think a lot of the old timers knew more or more familiar with that than the people these days, because they would
Yeah.
say things like, "You don't want to call it to you," because
Hmm.
like
Exactly.
thoughts
Because
like thoughts attract like thoughts, and as soon as you think it, it
yes,
starts attracting it to you. So
yeah,
if you're thinking about ill health or coronavirus
exactly.
or getting in a car accident and you're fixating on it, you're actually drawing it to you through the
Yes,
electromagnetic properties of all it is.
yes, that is absolutely true. And some people, I mean, it was popular back in the day to call it spiritual thought. It was a part of a realm where you went off and learned about being careful of your thoughts and blah, blah, blah. Nowadays, we have new age and it's about concentrating on attracting, a law of attraction. But it's just plain true of the spiritual realm.
One of
If
the
you formulate a thought, then you've released it into existence.
my biggest
Infinity
pet
is
peeve,
real.
my biggest pet peeve, excuse me, I have allergies, is music,
Mm-hmm.
because music is just chanting.
Mm-hmm.
And in new music, especially the gangster rap,
Yes.
they keep chanting all of this stuff over and over and over again. Where
Living
really,
horrible.
it isn't even music anymore. It's more of a chant. And then
Mhm.
they wonder why bad things happen to them.
Yeah, I
Mm.
agree.
That's all they're focused on. So
When
that they
stuff
draw it
first
right
was,
to them.
when it was first invented, I had a big problem with it. I was a DJ then, and my ex-husband, who was also a DJ, kept saying to me, "Oh, don't worry, it'll be over soon. It's just a fad." Well, we're now 25 years later, and
What do you think of
we're
Beverly
30
Hillbillies?
years
Isn't
later.
that kind of rap too? The theme song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beverly
It
Hillbillies.
comes from the
Yeah.
South. It is in the South.
God.
Tradition, long tradition, I think. Yeah.
Well, the fact that you mentioned it has made it play over and over in my head.
Oh,
I was hooked on that song.
I love
And
that show.
the other one, when people mention it, then I'm singing it for 2 days, is the thing about Mr. Ed.
Oh,
A horse is a horse, of course, of course.
Of course, yes.
Unless you're
Unless, of
talking about a
course,
talking horse. Hey, Wilbur.
you really sounded like him then.
Hey, Wilbur.
Oh God, I'm dating myself.
We're
we're all dating ourselves.
I hear Clarabelle and Captain Kangaroo and Mr.
Ugh.
Rogers and so forth and so on. But those were instances, to bring it back, those were instances where we were focused on a certain ideal personification to which we all gravitated as children. You know, they were safe images. They were these personifications of good intention and safety and caring and all of that stuff, you know. And there's just a, a dearth of it now. That's everything is all about, you know, the money, 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 money. And so you're not being we are feeding so much image into ourselves that we're giving ourselves a lot less room to be imaginative, you know. I think as a kid, I loved thinking up stuff and going off for hours at a time, off into the woods and just playing and imagining. You've created all these worlds in your head and stuff, you know. So then we had to get to be adults where we learn to imagine again.
Yeah.
So, Kate, I have a question.
Oh.
Something you said earlier really stuck with me. And, you know, when you get a bunch of Sethies in a room, some of the things that we talk about probably don't make any sense to beginning Sethies.
Mm.
Oh.
So if there's any people who are just beginning their Seth journey, if you have topics or questions, please leave them in the Facebook so Kate can take them down and we'll discuss them. Because for some of us who've been doing this for so long, it's just second nature to us. And I keep forgetting that this material is new to some people.
Yes.
And I remember back when I was just a baby Sethi, and it just would blow my mind. And I wish I had somebody at the time to ask the little questions
so you could pick their brain. Yeah.
Let me tell you what happened yesterday. And I invited this woman on today, but she couldn't make it. I think she will in the future, but she has been very spiritual all of her life. She studied with Marianne Williamson and, you know, real familiar with Louise Hay and Esther Hicks. And these different people that she'd studied with had all mentioned Seth and gave Seth credits. And so she Googled it, she bought Nature of Personal Reality and started reading it. Well, she called me yesterday. She's like, I have never done this. I cannot believe you even answered the phone. She's like, I'm calling like a company. Like she doesn't know I'm just a girl. And anyway, her question was, who is Rupert?
Oh.
So I explained to her Rupert and Joseph and how that happened, and that Rupert is what Seth calls Jane and Joseph is what he calls Rob. And she really was reading the book as a standalone without any background information. So I filled her in. She asked some more questions, and I said, our group really said that they would like to have some newbies on.
Right.
And so she's spiritual. She knows a lot of concepts. Studied A Course in Miracles. So she did a lot of the things that I had done before I got to Seth, but she doesn't have a group to work with. That was the key with
Oh,
I had a
that'll,
group to work with. So I
yeah.
invited her to be in this group. Now she couldn't do it today. So hopefully she can join us next week. And but
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, Jeff. That was just, she was so confused. She's like, who is this Rupert?
Yeah.
So
And, and we talk so much about alternate realities, and a lot of people don't even know what that means.
And even once
So
you've heard it defined, it takes you a while to kind of take it in.
Like
and
a
you
cross
create your,
between
yeah.
the name Ruby and Robert.
Yeah.
It's like a male-female name.
Yeah.
well, I
And the
don't
fact,
think Jane liked it in the beginning at all.
Yeah.
I
I
don't think she
agree.
liked it ever,
Oh,
Yeah.
beginning or at the end. I don't think she liked it.
Yeah.
But and we talk about things about like we create our own reality, and that's really a stretch for people who've
Yes.
not been exposed to
Yes.
this.
it is.
Taking personal responsibility and things
Yeah.
is foreign.
But so many of the teachings teach the same thing. So I also do Ho'oponopono, and that is about taking 100% responsibility.
Right.
Everything around you. Seth says the same words. And yes, there has been people that have walked away from our group because they said, there is no way that I'm creating this around me, and I'm just a victim and I have to deal with everybody's mess.
And I
Well,
tell that to my oversoul all the time.
that's the reality she's creating, because that's what she
Yes.
believes.
Right.
And to try to tell someone that, they just don't get it. They just,
Well, it's okay though,
but
because
they will. We're planting seeds.
yes, but it's the
Yeah.
thing is that this may be all they're supposed to do with the information in this lifetime. They've picked whatever karmic road they're on, and however long it takes, it's not for me to figure that out.
Exactly.
And it took me a long time to also feel um, a lack of guilt for being the one to educate you. You know, just being on this panel is a big stretch for me because I had so long ago said, well, go and go do your own Googling. Because as surely as you've taken a particular path and stance, everyone who hasn't thinks that you have some kind of moral obligation to bring them along. No, that's not my karma.
Right.
I'm not responsible for making sure you get it.
No. I agree with you, Mickey. The
Totally.
most, especially joining this, and I am not a teacher. The best
No.
I can do is ask you questions to start your own journey.
Yeah, I can share some of what I'm going through and some of the teachers I work with, but I'm very aware of the difference at that point in my life when I was being much more adamant about learning and having a teacher and officially studying. I paid for a lot of workshops. I took a lot of guided this and guided that and so forth, and it's expensive. It doesn't mean that I can give you Seth in 15 words or less and
There's no words
circumvent
for Seth.
35 years of study and dealing with people and working out what I believe. This is not going to come to you in 10 minutes of watching us all sitting here talking. It's just not going to happen that way. Even
Seth himself said that don't believe the person who says, I am the way and I have all the
exactly.
answers, because they don't. You look
That's
inside yourself because you have all the answers.
that's your first hint to start running.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
I love
God.
about this group. This group, talks about how we've taken stuff into our own lives and how we've made things work or not work, what we've discovered. And they're all seeds for other people that it
Yeah.
can work for them.
Yeah.
as
It
they,
will, but you have to go your own way.
yeah.
Stand on your own 2 feet and not take a lot of crap off of other people who tell you you don't have a right to question anything.
I can share a secret with them all. It's already going on whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, that's
You
a
just need
hard
to
one.
tune into it.
Yeah.
That's a hard one for everybody, is getting that under your belt takes some doing. The thing about simultaneous time.
That was hard. That was hard for me. It took me
Yeah.
at least, I don't know, 10, 15 years
Yeah,
to grasp. And once
I
you
agree.
grasp it, it's like, how could I not know this?
The soul is relieved when you finally wiggle it in, and get all of that. And it
Yes.
becomes so much more natural and easy to realize the simultaneous nature of time. Ah,
And how to use that, because you can actually use that as a tool.
oh yeah, there's
I've said
so
it
many
many
things you can
times.
do with it. Yeah.
When I was late for work, when I would be getting on the subway and it's like 5 to 8 and I have to be at work at 8, and I'd say, I'm just going to couch myself in a pocket of time and forget about it. I'll get to work on time. And the
Right.
next thing you know, I'm walking into work and it's 5 to 8 and it's like a 20-minute journey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when you play with that. I used to do a similar thing where I'd walk out and knowing I had left just a little later than I should, and I had X number of blocks to walk before getting to the actual train, and you're down there, you finally come down and you're standing there, and I'd say, okay, you can come into the tunnel now. Some of those people have been standing there for 30 minutes. But as soon as they say, the train always comes when you arrive. How do you do that? Can't explain it. But I give the train permission to appear. Okay,
Nice.
we're all ready now. Let's do this. And off
I
we
should have followed you. I was always late.
I didn't say I'm perfect at it, but I'm aware of it.
It got weird because
wish I
people
was.
noticed I could do it with taxis as well. And God knows, getting a taxi in New York, hey, like on Christmas Eve, when you're standing there in the blowing snow and taxis won't stop for you. And it's like, oh, but this one will.
Same as trying to find a parking space.
Yes, yeah. That was the first way I ever learned it, was to do it with parking spaces. That was how I learned about manifesting, was to say, okay, I'm going to have a parking space in just a
Right.
moment. And sure enough, bam, it would just
And that's a
appear.
good exercise for people who are new to the Seth material. Next
Mhm.
time you're looking for a parking space, just say to yourself, I know there's going to be a parking space in the next block.
Right.
And just go and park there.
Yeah. It will appear. And you can't
It'll
be
be there.
impatient. You cannot be impatient. Just
Somebody
know
will
that
just
it'll
be
be there.
leaving.
And you go back around and there it'll be. Yeah. Yeah, it really does work.
Yes, it
It
really
works that
does.
way.
Yeah. And people are just amazed at how easily it works.
And then it goes on with other things. Once you realize that you can do it, you can influence the nature of your now by your awareness of being able to do
I like the nature of your now.
Yeah.
it.
So for
I
me,
like that.
my ex would call me up and say, hey, I'm on the Tappan Zee or I'm on the George Washington or whatever, and he goes, I am never going to make it to work in time. He says, can you do that magic that you do? He says, and get me there on time. And he believed in what I could do, and it got
Yeah,
on time.
yeah.
Yeah. He was in Queens, so
But he wants you to do it within the inside of him saying he'll never be able to do it.
yeah. Well,
He trusts your magic,
Yep.
like you say.
Yep.
But then he's already negated his own ability as he reaches out for yours.
so here's somebody that I planted a million seeds. He didn't take any of them.
Yeah.
But it works, and it works even when you're helping someone else. If they're
But you have to be willing to give up whatever you're getting from not believing, whatever you're getting from the victimhood. You've got to be willing to give that up in
Mhm.
order to take the responsibility for creating.
And it's
And a
it's
lot of people
hard.
don't want to do
Oh
that.
no, it's hard to give up being a victim.
Yeah.
I can remember a few people in particular that were adamant that they liked to be a victim, and nobody was going to take that away from them.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
we're picking our
Wow.
reality. We're
right.
choosing. Hey.
Seth says many times, many times, that the qualities that we give God, we are capable of, and that
Yes.
all it is so much more.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
guys know that it is 5 minutes to,
Holy cow.
yeah, 5 minutes to,
5 minutes.
I really like this new time.
Yeah,
I do
I do.
too.
Yeah, this
I
is
have to
very
get
good.
used
This
to
is
it.
very good.
I was sitting up doing something and I looked at the clock and said, "Oh my God." Okay.
I hope
Had a
Jack's
half an
happy.
hour.
I hope Jack's happy with it. He gets to eat earlier.
Yes, he's having a nap tonight,
Hmm.
this
Good.
evening,
He
rather. And
napped last time too, so this works out great.
this works fine.
I
Good.
like naps.
When he arises, then, we'll have our dinner and that'll be fine.
He's
Beautiful.
I love
absorbing it
naps.
subliminally.
Yeah.
Yeah, naps are a new thing for me. I'm exploring that. And Martin, when you said about absorbing it subliminally, I had a real quick thing when I was studying a silver mine. The exam was given to us, and people were griping about having to take an exam. And the gist of it was one woman's husband used to lay on a blanket in the corner because he could drive and she couldn't. And he'd just lay there and sleep during the lessons. And when we were all griping and moaning about taking the exam, June Graham said, "Okay, I'm going to prove something to you." And she woke him up and said, "Would you come over here a minute?" And she showed him the exam on the podium and asked him to take it because it was a psychic exam. She asked him to do the things that we were asked, and he did every one of them. But he had not
Wow.
taken the course. He had slept through it.
Ah.
So she said, "See, you absorb it whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So if he can
So,
do it, you can do it. Quit your bitching."
so the kid that sleeps through class in school is still learning.
Hello.
Yeah.
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 Especially the one that's
Yeah.
daydreaming out the window.
Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Yes, yes. Daydreaming.
They're
That
well ahead of everybody else.
they
Yeah.
sure are.
How's Ashara, by the way?
She's good. She is creating a space for herself in the garage. So
Oh,
she has been cleaning and putting rugs down, and yeah, she's been working on it all week. And
that's great.
and she wanted to finish it today. So she's out there creating, and she's got her keyboard out there and her paints, and
Oh,
it's her
wow.
it's her private little meditation getaway space.
That's a
Mm.
fabulously important thing to have.
Absolutely. So, and the room that I'm sitting in is my space. This is where I do
Hmm.
my artwork. And I don't know
Mm.
if you guys can see, I don't know if I've ever showed you, but this is where I do.
Wow.
That's my art table. Here, let me take you around this way. So
Good heavens.
this is where I do my artwork. So that's the latest one I did. That's the kelp forest.
Mm.
I
Wow.
never tried to do underwater stuff before. But
Mm.
anyway, so yeah, this is my workspace, and
What a fantastic studio.
I
Yeah.
I love it. And then we have a little tea room with oh, you loved it. Look at that.
Oh
That's
my
that
goodness.
that is an African, I don't know what
Oh,
I'm assuming it's maybe goat,
djembe.
but
Huh?
that it's not a djembe, it's
Is it?
a community drum. So it's
Oh,
it's
yes, yes, because
it's
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 bigger.
Mm.
really, so this is my hand drum.
Uh-huh.
And then this is the community drum.
Good heavens.
Here,
That's a biggie.
I'll let you hear it. You want to talk about vibration?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nice, really nice.
Yeah.
And I won it. I went to Million Women
What?
Drummers, and I
Mm-hmm.
I bought $20 worth of tickets, and I And everybody wanted to go out to eat. And I said, I'm not going anywhere until I win this drum. And I did.
Wow.
So anyway, this is our little tea room. So we've got like tea stuff set up over there.
Good heavens, all those teas.
And then this is my office.
Wow.
This is my office where
Look at those crystals.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have crystals.
Oh,
Look at some of these here.
oh, you're making me crazy.
See
I,
this? See this?
that's it. That's what I'm trying to get. That's next.
That's,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I've got this.
Do I see an evil eye?
Mm,
Do you have an evil eye above your window?
No, I don't. No,
Around?
this is
Oh yes.
no. So yeah, I have lots of crystals here. I love crystals.
I do too. I'm
Right.
absolutely obsessed.
Yeah. And it's funny though, I don't really have any in my art studio. They're mostly all in the rest of the house, but
Yeah.
I do have that, and it's not for sale. That big one that you saw online, the
Yeah.
amethyst.
Yeah.
And then I have this smoky quartz that's like this big.
Good heavens.
It's huge and it's wonderful. You want to see it? I'll go get it.
Yes.
All right, let me go get it.
And the thing is that
Chit chat. I'll be right back.
getting them now is just such an assault. I had bought so many over the years that I had slowed down long ago. And so I recently went back online to look up some crystals, and it shocked the hell out of me what they cost now. Good
Yeah.
heavens. It's 3 or 4 times as much as I was used to paying. And it just,
Look at this.
oh my goodness, look at
Isn't
that.
it beautiful? So
It's gorgeous.
he is. I don't know if you can really see it. Let's see.
Yes.
It's got a phantom quartz. See the two?
Oh,
See the
yeah.
side?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a smoky quartz, and it's a phantom in there, and it's got
Phantoms
20
fascinate me.
pounds.
Yeah.
But when I'm not feeling good, I just put this on my heart.
That's exactly what I do.
And this
Turn
is,
the bottom to you.
sits right beside the bed. So this one is she's a beauty. Yeah.
That is absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did buy it to sell it, and then
Mhm.
someone looked at it, and I'm like, oh nope, take that away.
Can't be without it. No.
This one's
Yeah.
mine. Yeah, it's the
It
only.
claimed you.
Yes, she did.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That is so beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. And the
Ooh.
store. Someday I'll take you over to the store. So the store is on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
And it's just full of crystals, and we were open yesterday. So it's first time since March 22nd. We opened the store again. And we've put a limit, only 2 people can come in at a time. And and it's just, I had one person come in. That was it. So people are fearful, and they have to get through their stuff, and but we're here, we're ready, and
Yeah, the world's ready to turn back around now and get
yeah,
back in step.
yeah. So like I said, I just don't listen to the news, and I'm trying to follow the rules. I'm very respectful. I don't ever, I put my mask on when I'm going to be around people. And
I mean, I totally don't believe in it at all, but I follow the rules because
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
not?
Well,
Yeah.
it's first of all, it doesn't hurt anything to follow the rules.
No.
Secondly,
No.
it is respect for other people.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
And
I
yeah,
feel strongly about that. Yes.
me as well. Yeah. And we don't go out much. I mean, we really do keep to ourselves, for the most part. So,
Well,
what
I am so thankful that you shared your space. It is magnificent.
isn't it? Oh, did I show you the floor? Look at the floor.
No.
Doesn't it look like a swimming pool?
Yes, it does.
I
Yeah, it is really
love the
nice.
way it looks.
You're a nut.
I just love the way it looks.
Yes.
I have one in the healing room too. The same rug. I bought one, and I'm like, oh, I got to get another one. So
Yes, I'm like that.
it goes well with the colors here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice pool.
It's yeah, yeah.
What you need is a couple of flamingos.
Well, what we did is this is a long time ago, long before COVID, but we would do crystal healing sessions here. So I
Yeah.
would put yoga mats out on the floor, put the crystals all around the person got in the middle, and then we would all do healing on that person with all the crystals.
Oh
That was
yeah.
amazing. Or you know, we would add singing bowls and tuning forks, and so yeah, I'm all about healing with frequency vibrations.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I even did one healing with somebody once. They were so out of tune with the frequency of the tuning forks that actually hurt them until it reached the resonance where it could accept it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never
So
heard that
it's
before.
extremely physical. Yeah.
Yes.
She's the only person I've ever done it with that had a kind of a weird reaction, but doing it easily and working into her space, it eventually raised it to where it was at the right frequency. And that's where the healing takes place. So
That is wonderful.
yeah, love it. Well, guys, it is 5 after. We went over.
Okay.
We always have to go over, I think. A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it was a great session, and I will get this posted on YouTube maybe later tonight. We'll see. Tonight's a slow night, so I might get it up tonight. And hopefully, well, I have to, that was my last Seth Psy-Time that I have prepared, so I have to prepare more for next week. So I'll get them done, and so I have my homework for next week.
Okay.
Everybody has a wonderful week.
You too.
All right.
Goodbye,
You too.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye. Love you all.
Bye. Love you.
True.